Now students, today we are going to start with the new topic, and that is the exchange of gases. So how exchange of gases takes place at two levels. If you remember, in the beginning of this chapter we have learned about the external respiration and the internal respiration, or you can say the alveolar exchange level, and the second is the tissue or the cellular level of exchange of gases. So in this topic we are going to understand the importance of the Dalton's law of the partial pressure of the gases also. So what exactly we need to understand here is that the alveoli are the primary site of exchange of gases. This is true that the gases are getting exchanged at the level of the alveoli. An exchange of gases also occur between blood as well as tissue. So there are two levels of exchange. One is between the blood and the alveoli, and second is between the blood and the cells. So the oxygen and carbon dioxide are exchanged in these sites by the process of simple diffusion, and we all know diffusion is a slow process, and diffusion merely depends upon, or it is completely dependent upon the partial pressure of the molecules which have to be moved or otherwise exchanged or to diffuse. So the carbon dioxide and oxygen are exchanged in these sites by simple diffusion, and that bases upon the pressure or the concentration gradient. Solubility of gases as well as thickness of the membrane involved in diffusion are also important factors that can affect the rate of diffusion. So the pressure which is contributed by an individual gas in a mixture of gases is called as the partial pressure, and this is, we all know, this is the Dalton's law, that air is a mixture of gases and every gas exerts its own partial pressure which is independent of the other gases, because the molecules of different gases do not interfere with one another, being far apart, and the pressure exerted by each gas is known as its own partial pressure. We all know that the pressure exerted by the mixture of gases is called as the atmospheric pressure. So air generates a pressure, and in that pressure there are partial pressures of gases. Its value is 760 mmHg, we all know, for the atmospheric pressure, and the partial pressure of different gases is equal to the concentration of that particular gas in that mixture of gases or air. So we all know that the symbol used for the partial pressure is that small p. So when we look at the levels of exchange, the first level is the external level of exchange, and the second is the internal level of the exchange. So this exchange, according to the NCERT, also goes in this manner. NCERT says that there are, in the table 17.1, it discusses that the respiratory gases which we are interested in are the oxygen and carbon dioxide, and this is the partial pressure of the oxygen in the atmospheric air, and this is of the carbon dioxide. And in alveoli, because it is not possible for the full thing, because please remember, inhaling air and exhaling air, they mix together in alveoli. So that's why the partial pressure of oxygen will be less compared to the atmospheric pressure. So you will find that there is less amount of pressure exerted present. That means concentration of oxygen is less in the alveolar air compared to the atmospheric air. And then you can see the difference again for carbon dioxide. Now this is the partial pressure in the blood, which is the impure blood. It means heart has pumped impure blood. Impure means rich in carbon dioxide and poor in oxygen. So you can check here, alveoli has 104, and here it is 40, and for carbon dioxide 40 and 45. Now in the same manner, blood which is oxygenated, that means after oxygenation the lungs are going to pass fresh blood or oxygen rich blood back to the heart. So you can see here the amount of oxygen has increased and the amount of carbon dioxide has decreased. You can see there is not much difference in the partial pressure for the carbon dioxide. And then tissues level, because this is the place where respiration is going on, so carbon dioxide would be more and oxygen would be less in amount. So let's continue from here. So there is external level of, NCERT also has drawn the similar diagram which I have drawn there. So The external level of exchange occurs at the alveoli site between the blood, and then the internal level of exchange occurs at the level of the blood and the cells of the body. So there are two exchanges going on, and this exchange can be written like this also. The alveolar air will pass on there will be exchange of gases between alveolar air and blood, and once the blood has become oxygenated and got rid of maximum carbon dioxide, now the blood will again go back to the tissue level, because heart pumps in a double manner, double circulation. So then the blood will carry the gases to the tissue and blood are going to exchange gases again between each other. That's why one level of exchange is at the alveolar level, second level is the internal level, that is at the cellular level or the tissue level of body. So now once the air enters inside, this air is rich in the oxygen, and when you see the blood which is impure reaching the alveoli has less amount of oxygen. So the rule is but partial pressure, each gas exerts its pressure independent of the other gas, and pressure exerted is called as the partial pressure. Now gases always move from the high pressure level side to the less pressure level side.